If you're into cars, you probably know that metal, fire, and water do not go well with each other. And it is best practice to keep that water away from your beloved power plant. Since I started posting about the rear mount turbo system on my car, I've gotten a lot of questions and concerns about the turbo being so low and the intake being so low that it would suck in water and end up hydrolocking the engine. This, of course, is a fair concern, and I want to reassure you in this video that your rear mount is not going to blow up your car while you're enjoying that sweet booty boost. Hydrolocking is when water enters your engine and wreaks havoc with your internals. At the very worst, it will lock up your engine, seizing it, and you might be able to unseize it by draining the water from your spark plugs. But on the more catastrophic size, it will completely destroy a lot of your internal parts, bending rods, snapping connecting rods, and just putting shards of metal all over the internal portion of your engine, costing you a big repair bill or a trip to the junkyard. In most cases, hydrolocking can occur after you drive through a very large body of water or puddle or flooded area, and water saturates your air filter and enters in through your air intake. If your car is modified with large intakes that go into your front bumper and are close to the ground with cone filters, those are more at risk at being hydrolocked because of high rainfall and your front bumper taking the majority brunt of that water when you go through puddles, or you have another vehicle in front of you kicking up water, spraying, and just saturating those cone filters. Now keep in mind that a substantial amount of water has to get in to be able to cause damage heavy enough to hydrolock an engine. A couple drops here and there are not going to be doing much damage whatsoever. My name's Caleb, and if you're new here, that is my 350Z with a rear mount turbo making just shy of 600 wheel horsepower. Now, most YouTubers at this point would go ahead and tell you to like, comment, and subscribe, but I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm going to ask you to watch some other videos that I have if you enjoy this one. That helps YouTube know that you guys are staying on my channel, you like the content I'm putting out, and it helps the channel grow. Now that we know what hydrolocking is, I want to go over 3 things that I do to make sure that that does not happen with my remote turbo setup. And number 1 is placement. The placement of the turbo is super important because you need to have it tucked up as high as possible. My setup currently has over 18 inches of clearance, which is good for both speed bumps and for rain, dust, and debris. The turbo itself is clocked over to the side, but the air intake is right smack dab in the middle of the car, and it's not behind any of the wheels or tires that are going to be kicking up any of that spray, and it doesn't catch a lot of spray because of that. So if you guys are planning a build like this, make sure you're talking to your fabricator, or if you're building it yourself, make sure you put as much clearance as possible. Yeah, I know that's common sense, but I've seen some pretty low lying rear mounts that make me nervous. Next is another kind of common one, but it's driving behavior. Now, if it's raining, you guys can drive in the rain. I'm a big proponent of pushing people to drive in the rain. It's okay. You guys are not gonna hydrolock your engines. I've done it so many times. As you can see here, it is raining quite a bit, and I'm about to make a 1.5 hour drive. The car is on. I'm gonna go ahead and time lapse this entire trip home. Back roads with highways, and I'm gonna be doing highway speeds of 80 miles an hour. Let's see if I make it home without exploding. Woo! She's still there. But by driving behaviors, I mean if it is a flooded road, which you should not be going through in a normal car, an OEM car, you should not be doing it. You definitely should not be doing it with a rear mount turbo where your turbo is potentially going to be underwater and acting like a straw, just pulling it in through the intake and hydrolocking your engine, causing all sorts of damage. I work for an insurance company. I used to work in the auto department. If you guys drive through a puddle of water and hydrolock your engine, that's 100% your fault, and it's 100% collision. Now I know there's areas of the country that see crazy amounts of rainfall at the drop of a hat, like Georgia and Indiana, both areas where I've experienced crazy torrential downpours at the drop of a hat. And if that's the case, if that's where you live, then you already know that visibility is an issue. Might have to pull over and wait. And the secret weapon of this is purchasing a hydrophobic sock. They're made of a polymer polyester material coated with a hydrophobic coating on the outside. Now they're not 100% waterproof, but they will stop the majority of water from entering in your intake. Remember what I said before, it takes a substantial amount of water to get by to be able to cause real damage. Actually, I recommend anybody who is running an aftermarket intake to run these hydrophobic socks, as they really don't cost that much and they're super easy to install. Especially if you have those intakes that I know a lot of VQ guys have, where it goes into the bumper, down close to the road to get the cool air. Definitely want to put some hydrophobic socks on there. You don't want to be sucking up any water. I'll link some in the description below. If you guys want to buy some through the link, it helps support the channel with no extra cost to you. So in conclusion, I don't think that the rear mount will give you any issues whatsoever as long as you follow those 3 simple tips that I've given you. And I really think that you're gonna be successful. The rear mount has a lot of benefits when it comes to heat restriction, and a lot of that water is a fear, I know that. So I hope that this video gives you a little bit more confidence moving forward if you choose to build a system like this. So what do you think? Do you think that the rear mounts are just giant straws sucking up water to kill your engine? Or do you think that you're more comfortable now that I've shared a little bit more light on this topic? Go ahead and drop your comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel because I am putting out 2 videos a week this month, and I'm gonna be cranking out a lot more content. I'll see you guys on the next one.